Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are St. Louis.
Welcome to Sunday Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. We are the Bowling Cardinals. Today the Cardinals take on the Rockies.
Go Cards!
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and this afternoon from Busch Stadium, a gorgeous day. It's the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals as the Redbirds wrap up the homestand. A productive homestand at that for St. Louis. Their record 6-4, and after a sluggish couple of games against Cincinnati, the offense has come alive the last 3 games against the Rockies. With Jim Hayes and Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. The offense has come alive. The pitching, Tim, this year has been magnificent, and the Cardinals need a healthy Jaime Garcia, today's starter, to be healthy, to be productive down the stretch.
Well, that's good news for Jaime that the offense is up, because in 4 of his 8 starts, the Cardinals have not scored a run. His strikeouts are down. His ground balls, however, are up, and his ERA is low.
So, Garcia gets the call today for St. Louis. Johan Flande made his Major League debut against the Cardinals last year. Will go for the Rockies. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest this Sunday afternoon. Major League Baseball. Here's a look at your current division leaders. The American League, the Yankees, a 5-game lead. Royals have the biggest lead in all of baseball at 8 games. Houston at 3. The Nationals trying to hold on to first place. That'll be on the line today against the Mets. Cardinals 5.5. The Dodgers a 1.5 out west. Johnny Peralta with a home run last night, number 16. He's in the lineup today, and he'll back clean up. Baseball comes your way next. Stan the Man statue. The main gate, the main entrance here at the ballpark is Charlie Blackmon will lead it off for the Colorado Rockies. Blackmon a big night in Game 3. And their lineup features Blackmon at the top, then the switch hitting Jose Reyes, DJ LeMahieu, Arenado. Homered last night. Kyle Parker gets a start today. Ben Polson, Nick Hundley, Brandon Barnes, Johan Flande. And the Cardinals turn to their left-hander, number 54, 9th start of the year, and that's Jaime Garcia.
He has pitched well enough to not only reverse that win-loss record, but to have several more wins in there. And hopeful the Cardinals could score behind him today.
We were talking before the game about Charlie Blackmon. This guy is a good player. Hitting .292, 12 home runs, and he's driven in 44.
A lot of teams in the major leagues would love to add this guy to their lineup.
He's mixed in 27 stolen bases, plays a good center field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jaime coming off a loss against Cincinnati. Run support has been an issue this year for him. The 1-1 pitch. Hit out of play. Worst start of his career was a nationally televised game against the Rockies. And the Hyundai pitch arsenal there for Garcia. He went 3 1/3, gave up 11 hits. All were earned. A home run, walked 4 in 106 pitches. That was back in 2011.
Yeah, 4 years ago, and he'd love to forget it.
A game I remember quite well, working with George Frazier. I'll never forget that either. He's a piece of work.
Oh, he is that.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
George Frazier is the analyst for the Colorado Rockies, and we understand he's hanging them up after this year.
This will be it for him.
Man.
Two pitch to Blackmon. Ground ball to first, taken there by Reynolds. 1 away. A look at the Cardinals defense here today. Steven Piscotty, another start. Why not? He's been red hot. He's in left field. Randall Grichuk in center. Jason Hayward is in right. Matt Carpenter, big series here against the Rockies. He's at third. Peralta, Wong, and Reynolds along the infield. And Tony Cruz gets the start behind the plate. Jose Reyes, part of the big trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. Troy Tulowitzki going to the Jays. Reyes coming the other way. And he's 2 for 11 so far wearing that Colorado uniform.
Jose Reyes' first team in the major leagues, the New York Mets, back in 2005, 6, 7, in those years. And what a game last night, won by the Mets at Citi Field. The second largest crowd they've ever had at Citi Field.
Won that game late, too.
Yeah, Lucas Duda with a big hit. Lucas Duda, their first baseman, has 8 home runs in the last 7 games. Not consecutive games, but 8 home runs over a 7-game span.
2 last night to go along with a double. The game-winning hit. Ground ball to third, taken by Carpenter. High throw with a stretch by Reynolds.
That's a tough play for Mark Reynolds. Great footwork. A little balletic action over at first base. Throw is the inside part of the bag. He steps. He had the left foot, I believe, and now he had to switch feet and touch the bag with the right foot. Reyes running inside the line. Good play by Reynolds.
Reynolds has, I think, opened up some eyes defensively.
He has. Remember that Milwaukee series where you were talking about how all the Milwaukee Brewers were saying you're going to be surprised with his defense back a couple of months ago.
That's right. And even at third base, too, when he's been called into action there. Here's DJ LeMahieu, hit over 400 in the month of July. Mentioned last night how he's just tore up the Cardinals this year. Overall, 326, 4 home runs, 42 RBIs, 6 for 12 in this series. Velocity has been up this year for Jaime Garcia, and he's also getting a number of ground balls.
He was saying strikeouts are down, but he would rather have more ground balls than strikeouts. He's not a strikeout pitcher anyway, and that's why his ERA is lower than it normally is.
Here's a 2-0. In the dirt, 3 balls, no strikes. Mentioned that Cruz gets the start today. Kind of like a 2-for-1 for Yachty with the off day tomorrow, then head to Cincinnati on Tuesday. Molina leads the league in innings caught. The 3-0. 3 balls, 1 strike. If he can stay healthy, the Cardinals are a different team once they get to postseason play. And talking about Jaime Garcia, he's that good, and he's that good in particular at home. Three and 2.
He also gives the Cardinals that left-handed arm that they need in the rotation.
This could be a very big 2 months for Garcia. If you look at how the off days play out, if he goes every 5th day, you're looking at 11-12 starts remaining for him. And then postseason, Cardinals hold 2 options on him after this year, or he becomes a free agent. Taken high. And we turn to our Toyota keys to the game.
Of course, it's not that time yet because it's the top half of the inning at home. But a run fest for Jaime. That's the rallying cry for the Cardinals today.
You can understand why, because the Cardinals just have not scored runs for him. In 4 of his 8 starts, the Cardinals have failed to score just 1 run. They've given him a total of 17 in 8 starts coming into play today. Nolan Arenado. We've been singing his praises the last 3 games, and you can understand why. He's now up to 80 RBIs to lead the league. He's 3 for 14. Key home run in the game last night. LeMahieu with 13 steals this year.
Yeah, and if you're Garcia, you don't worry about that. Not with Arenado at the plate.
You know, Tim, we talked so much about the splits of Coors Field and then playing on the road for any Rockies player. Arenado, home run every 12 at-bats on the road, RBI every 5.
He has 17 home runs on the road.
Exactly. So you're talking about a guy that's produced.
Just the opposite of Rocky power hitters past.
1-1 is tapped foul. Pittsburgh has jumped out to a 3-0 lead. That's in the top of 5 against Cincinnati. Chicago 1-0 over Milwaukee. That's at the top of the first. Cubbies looking for his sweep. Cruz doesn't play very much. There's only been 7 stolen base attempts against him. He has not caught anybody this year. In his career, he's around 27%.
Good play there, and that was also a play that had LeMahieu chosen to run would probably have made it. What a lot of good base runners do. They try to choose a waste pitch or a ball in the dirt. You're not always sure that's going to come, but realize that if Garcia throws the breaking ball to a guy like Arenado, he's got to have to keep it down anyway.
And a check on LeMahieu. So Molina, with the new haircut and all, gets to rest today.
Since he's got an off day, I'd like to see him in the shade instead of the sun.
Go relax.
Yeah.
Maybe even in the AC somewhere. We're talking about it last night. All the innings that he has caught, the miles he's put on that body, and he answers the bell every single day. LeMahieu is off with this pitch with 2 outs and a 3-2 count on Arenado. Off the end of the bat, little squibber that rolls foul. Cardinals finishing up a long homestand. They'll go on the road with 3 games in Cincinnati, then 3 in Milwaukee, and then back home for 9. St. Louis has been so good at home. This is the chance to really try to get some separation. Cardinals with 27 games left in August. 17 of the 27 are against teams that are under the 500 mark.
That's a trap, if you know what I mean.
Oh, sure.
Start figuring those things out 2 months before playoff time. You know what I mean, Dan. I mean, it's obviously true. But how many times in past years when teams have been in first place on the 1st of August, 2nd of August, have said, well, let's see, you have to play 500 ball and then have to play 880 ball or something like that to catch you. Before you know it, you're looking up and they don't have to play 880 ball anymore.
And it could be a trap too, Tim, when you think about, you know, facing Cincinnati. You say, well, no Mike Leake, and then you go to Milwaukee, no Gomez, no Fires. You know, you think about the players that are no longer there, not thinking about, well, who's here trying to make an impression. Here's Kyle Parker, line foul. Former QB at Clemson, very good athlete, obviously, and he gets the start at left field today.
I guess Rocky fans have gotten used to it, but they're used to not seeing the countenance of Todd Helton, who was quarterback ahead of Peyton Manning at UT. Tell your grandkids that's enough.
Had a pretty good baseball career, Hall of Fame career.
Right.
And oh, by the way, I was ahead of Peyton Manning, who's arguably one of the top 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks that ever played the game.
Right.
Runners at first and second. Two and two. 25 pitches here in this top of the first for Garcia. Parker was called up after the injury to Corey Dickerson. He broke his ribs the other night. And a ground ball hits slowly towards second. Wong makes the play.
Good
Rockies
play.
will strand two.
Man.
Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Always one of the great sights here at Busch Stadium on select days, opening day, some of the holidays. The Eagle lands as Matt Carpenter will lead things off. Good series for Carp. 7 for 13. 3 home runs against the Rockies. Then Steven Piscotty, Colton Wong, Johnny Peralta, Jason Hayward, Randall Grichuk, Mark Reynolds, Tony Cruz, and the pitcher batting ninth, Jaime Garcia. Johan Flande will get the call today as you get a look at what's on the bench. For Mike Matheny, 2 from the left, 3 from the right.
Very unusual delivery, not a hard thrower is Flambe. Can't help but change that name from Flande to Flambe on a day like today.
It's hot, isn't it?
It is hot.
How did you guys ever make it with those old uniforms?
With those flannel uniforms, man. And the weight you gained from wearing them. They had to be 10 pounds heavier after a hot day, hot and muggy here in St. Louis.
Cardinals struggled against De La Rosa last night. They are under 500 when facing a lefty starter this year. Shift on for Carpenter. Grounded past Chris Maloney.
Dan, you and I went back on the MLB Network last night, saw the Giants beat the Texas Rangers in extra innings, 2 home runs by Hunter Pence and Brandon Belt, his second of the game. And I noticed the Giants are wearing that LS on their sleeve for Lon Simmons, who passed away earlier this year. And Lon was a delight to be around and a very, very funny man. And I think of the pitchers today with Garcia not throwing as hard as he did. Lon Bay, not a hard thrower. And with guys like this, Lon Simmons said that you get the feeling that you can walk along next to the baseball and follow it to home plate.
That's slow, huh?
Is that a great description? The person, as a matter of fact, in question was Tommy John after his Tommy John surgery. And Tommy was rather upset, from what I understand, when Lon said that. And Lon said, "But you're not a hard thrower, are you?"
That
He said,
explains
"No."
it.
He got his point across.
The 2-2. I met Lon Simmons. He was at a Giants game and threw Wayne Hagan.
Wonderful man.
Yeah, former Cardinal broadcaster, and grew up in the Bay Area, grew up listening and idolizing.
Did the 49ers?
Yeah. Very nice man.
Oh, yeah. And funny.
Two balls, two strikes on Carpenter. Flande made his major league debut, you may remember, back on June 25th of last year. And that was against the St. Louis Cardinals. 5 innings, 6 hits, gave up 4. Matt Adams had a 2-run homer. The 2-2.
Nine years in the minor leagues.
It's hard not to root for guys that have put that much time in the minors. They have paid their dues. Fly ball out to left. There's Kyle Parker. One away. What does he feature besides slow, slow, slow? Our Hyundai pitch arsenal.
It's the second pitcher, Rocky pitcher in a row, whose splitter is featured more than any other pitch. Jorge De La Rosa, same thing last night. And that gives you an idea that he's not a hard thrower when your splitter is the pitch you throw more often than not.
1 out, nobody on. Steven Piscotty. 10 for 24 this homestand. The 6th in Cardinals history. Did safely in each of his 9 starts to begin a career. And if you're wondering what the all-time record is, it was John Rodriguez, J-Rod. There was A-Rod, then we had J-Rod. A little different style of player.
Yes.
J-Rod did it in 10 straight. Pulled foul. But I think they both had about the same ego. I ran into John in spring training this last year, and he was coaching an independent ball and helping some of the minor league free agents get looks to potentially catch on with teams. As Piscotty hits it to the right side, Ben Paulson will take it. 2 down. He was not short on confidence, put it that way. For the Rockies defensively, Parker in left, Blackman in center, and Barnes in right. Arenado, Reyes, LeMahieu, and Paulson on the infield. Nick Hundley is behind the plate. In steps Colton Wong.
Tell you, if you don a major league uniform, you better not be short on confidence.
You'll get eaten alive.
You got to assume that other guy is either the pitcher trying to get you out or the hitter trying to hit you from a pitcher's standpoint.
Here's a 1-0. I know it goes down in our scorecards as a 4-3 with 2 runners on to end the top of the first. That was not an easy play at all.
Terrific play
for Colton Wong.
That in between hop, funky spin.
And Wong is hit by the pitch. 13th time that Colton has been hit.
I think it hit him in the fatty part of the rear end. But I guess the danger is when you get hit in the spine above the rear end. Yeah.
Tailbone.
Borderline right on. Yeah. right on the belt.
It's Chris Conroy, Cardinals training staff. So 13 times that Wong has been hit. Anthony Rizzo 21. We've talked about how he crowds the plate, and we were mentioning the other night, so many teams try to pitch Wong inside. He is susceptible to being hit by pitches. So he's all right. He'll stay in the game. He's at first base, and it brings in Johnny Peralta, who had, for the 20th time in his career, back-to-back games with a home run. Number 16 last night. He now has 37 home runs as a Cardinal, most by any shortstop in that time period.
Hey, when you get hit by a pitcher and you can run, you're more eager to run when you've been hit by somebody when you get to first than you are normally. And the why of that is pretty obvious. It's the only way you can get back at a guy who hit you. Wong can run.
11 steals. He's been caught 6 times. Been 49 attempts on Nick Hundley. He's caught 15, so just over 30% he's gotten. Cardinals are 5 for 9 against Hundley in his career. 3-1.
One thing you hate to see Colton, even if he's not running, take his lead and put his hands on his knees, because no runner will run with his hands on his knees. So that's a shot right there with the hands on the knees that you're not running.
And Peralta hits a high fly ball into center. Blackman was spun around and makes the catch on the track. The Cardinals strand a runner. We played one. And there's no score from Busch Stadium. Fox Sports Midwest proud to support the National Fallen Firefighters Stair Climb to honor and remember those that gave their lives on September 11th. The 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb is held Sunday, September 13th. For more info, visit ClaytonStairClimb.com. Garcia's ERA so far in his 8 starts is 2, and his record is below 500. Much of that due to the fact the Cardinals just don't score runs when he's on the mound. Ben Paulson, Nick Hundley, and Brandon Barnes. When the Cardinals head to Cincinnati on Tuesday night, John Lackey, Anthony DeSclafani, Carlos Martinez, and David Holmberg in Game 2. Thursday, Michael Wacha against Michael Lorenzen. That's a day game. All 3 games on Fox Sports Midwest. Rick Horton and Al Raboski will bring you the action. Good pitch, 71 miles an hour.
It's one of those situations where people will say he took something off of it. And we've talked about it many times, Dan. It's the grip on the ball. Pitchers don't do that with breaking balls as much as you think they would. But the tighter you grip the ball, the slower the pitch is. So instead of him willfully taking something off the pitch, it's all in the grip.
This has been an entertaining series. Game 1 was sloppy, but the Cardinals win with the walk-off walk by Greg Garcia. Game 2 at the 5-run 6th inning for the Cardinals as Carpenter has come alive in this series, and then last night Arenado home run number 26. Strikeout of Ben Paulson, and the first strikeout for Garcia today.
I'm sure the Rockies, in getting rid of Troy Tulowitzki, him going to the Toronto Blue Jays, they realize that their ancillary hitters in their lineup are very good. Hundley, for instance, batting .300. Ben Paulson with a home run last night, close to .290. Brandon Barnes, the number 8 hitter, batting .281. So they've got other hitters other than just Arenado and Blackman and a few others. For the most part, they have good hitters filtered through their lineup.
And here's the aforementioned Hundley, also has mixed in 8 home runs. He's driven in 36, so not bad at all for a catcher or anybody. I mean, the Cardinals would love some of the numbers in this lineup for their own.
I'm glad you qualified that, because
I wouldn't take a shot
run the
at
risk
catchers.
of offending former catchers when you say he's a good hitter for a catcher, or he runs well for a catcher.
Caught
One of my
myself
favorites.
very quickly.
Thank you.
Here's the 0-2.
I'm ever alert and very sensitive to those remarks.
He was sensitive over dancing and then getting after catchers. Strikeout number 2, 2 in a row here in the 2nd inning for Jaime Garcia. I've said this to you before, and I'll ask it again. You know, if you're the GM of the Rockies and you're trying to build this club, how do you do it? Find middle of the road pitching like you had that conversation with Walt Weiss? Middle of the road pitching maybe gives you 8 to 10 more wins right there.
In other words, instead of being 15th in the National League in earned run average, be about 7th or 8th. That would be enough. But the Rockies, throughout their history, have just had horrible pitching.
The Blake Street Bombers, they had them for a while. Castilla and Galarraga. Larry Walker, who was a sensational player, as we saw here in St. Louis. Tail end of that run, they picked up Todd Helton. Then Tulowitzki, now Arenado.
I mean, trying to come back and get Barnes, it's a very important hitter. You retire him, and the pitcher leads off the 3rd.
3-0 pitch. I've talked to Tony Cruz about Garcia. He says he's one of the toughest pitchers to catch. Doesn't throw overly hard, but he said the movement and the late movement makes it very difficult.
One of the reasons for his success.
They say even when you're playing catch with him, it's hard just to even be down the right field line before a game and playing catch.
He's a left-hander.
Yeah.
Left-handers can't throw the ball straight. A lot of guys have to have finger pressure and things like that to get a ball to move, not left-handers. It's in their DNA.
Up the middle, off of Garcia, knocked down by Wong, picks it up, makes the play. Hits Garcia to Wong, so 1-4-3 on the putout. He's just a regional cable reporter, but we know him as so much more and one of the best. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Just a guy trying to stay cool. Dan, when you think about Randall Grichuk and his offensive potential, it's easy to overlook his defense. Then he goes out and he does something like he did in the 7th inning last night. Times his jump perfectly, goes over the wall to take a homer away from Michael McHenry. Grichuk told me as a high school player in Texas, he was thought to be a guy whose defense wasn't that great. He said that put a chip on his shoulder about it and made him work harder on his defense than anything else. He told me he's still kicking himself about mistiming his jump and bumping the wall on the Jay Bruce homer Wednesday night. Dan, in his mind, that's a ball he should have gotten.
And he was a sensational high school player, selected ahead of Mike Trout, which we've talked about, by the Angels. As Hayward looks at a strike, he led the nation in home runs as a senior with 24. Here's that catch last night, taking a home run away. And it shouldn't be overlooked how good he is defensively. They now have Gold Gloves for minor league players, and he won the Gold Glove in the minor leagues. He can play all 3 outfield spots. He told us that he prefers center because he likes the pressure of being able to go after it and cover ground on both sides.
He's got more range too than any center fielder on the Cardinals.
Good arm too. 3-2.
I'm always reminded of Joe Torre's line about the middle 60s. He said, I won the Gold Glove in 1965 and used it in 1966. Meaning his hands were a lot harder in 66.
And for so many years, it was, I don't want to say a popularity contest, but your offensive numbers put you on the map, and it was overlooked how good people were defensively. You agree?
Yeah, oh, without a doubt.
Three-two pitch, and it's a walk. No, a strikeout of Hayward. Called third strike on Jason Hayward, and the first strikeout for Flande.
Home plate umpire Ryan Blackney calling this pitch. It's a liberal outside pitch. Hayward thought it was outside. It's close. Catcher caught it outside, but that does not mean that it didn't go across the plate. Maybe a front corner, perhaps.
And the Rockies again shift for Randal Grichuk. Very good homestand, 10 for 27. And a modest 5-game hitting streak coming into play today. Tim, let's talk about the shifts here and how it pertains to a catcher and calling a game.
I don't know.
Well, you never had to deal with it.
No, I don't know anything about it.
I'm just curious, you know.
Talk to some other analyst.
Well, Tim, that's why we pay you the big bucks. You can fib. You can come up with something here.
Nothing.
You got nothing on it, huh?
No. I mean, you're going to pitch it. Seriously, you're going to pitch a hitter the same way. You're not going to worry about the shift. Just like a hitting instructor hopes that a hitter doesn't worry about the shift and try to do something abnormal. It's the mental thing that messes hitters up. For instance, in Grichuk's case, he's not a guy who hits a lot of ground balls to right field, but because it's open, try to get him to change to hit it to right field. It just doesn't work. That's what the defense wants you to do.
A strikeout of Grichuk.
Another disputed pitch.
It's inside of the plate, too, back-to-back times.
Yeah, Hayward thought it was outside, and Grichuk thought it was inside. It was a breaking ball here. It was close.
Well, for not knowing anything about the shift and how to do it, you gave me a pretty good explanation.
Fair.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was fair.
Here's Mark Reynolds. Reynolds, a slow roller to third. Arenado gloves, makes the play. We're going to talk about the history of shifts during the break, and we can't wait to do it. Tim is fired up on this Sunday afternoon. No score. At Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
You open up a can of worms by talking about somebody talking to somebody who never really had to call a game with infield shifted and stuff like that. The one thing I used to detest was the stature of a regular player who was not a catcher. A guy like, for instance, Pete Rose, who would come into a meeting. Only played with him 1 year in 1979, but he was invited to the pitchers meeting, and he started out telling the catchers what pitches to throw. I said, this is not going to work, Pete. You're not going to tell me how to call a game. You're not going to tell me, because you're a great hitter, how I should call the game. And the point was, George Foster was such a prolific hitter, powerful guy, hit over 50 home runs in '77. And he hit in front of bench. And in those days, I was catching Carlton for the most part. And Pete would say, there's no way I'd pitch to George Foster. I said, no. And so you pitch around him, so bench will be hitting with guys on base. Bench hit 3 home runs against lefty in 2 different games.
So you knew what you wanted to...
You know, I'm not... Pete, don't tell me what to do.
Right.
Don't tell me how to work a game. And that used to infuriate me. And any catcher worth his salt would feel the same way. But because of his stature, that was the only reason Pete was in the meeting.
I find it incredibly interesting when you talk to scouts today. They mention when you draft a catcher, in particular college catchers, their inability to call the game because the game is called from the dugout in college.
You're exactly right, and that is another thing that just drives me up a wall. How are you going to teach someone how to call a game if all his pitches are always called for?
Flande strikes out, and it brings in Charlie Blackmon, so back to the top of the lineup. And it makes sense if a college catcher doesn't know how to call the game because he's never had to.
No, right.
So they get to the minor leagues, they're playing pro ball, and all of a sudden they're having to call their own game. And I know a lot of our fans say, well, what's happening with the catcher looking into the dugout? Why is that happening?
Aren't they looking in there for pitch selection? I get that all the time. And the answer is no, they're not. They're looking into the dugout because of the running game.
Exactly.
To give the pitcher with the man on base a step off, a throw to first, things of that nature. In many ways, and you know, it was coined years ago, speed has slowed down the game.
Right.
Because you're not going to do all those things unless a guy who can run is at first base. Now, so I guess the point is, to wrap it up, there's a lot that goes into calling a game behind the plate. You just don't fire down fingers and hope, well, this is one thing he could do. No, you put them down with conviction. And if you put fingers down with no conviction, you get a tentative pitch from a pitcher. He can tell. If you kind of squeeze those fingers down, he'll tell what that's all about. And usually you get a tentative pitch as a result. And tentative pitches up here are hit a long way.
3 balls, 1 strike on Charlie Blackmon, who grounded out to first. He's 0 for 1. 3-2. Blackmon in the middle of the at-bat took off the sunglasses. Sun is shining brightly in a beautiful day here in St. Louis. And the 3-2. He walked him. 3rd walk issued by Garcia. One of my favorite people in the world throughout our ceremonial first pitch, Norm Stewart, the whole head basketball coach, former head basketball coach, with his wife Virginia there. Those two have been together for over 50 years. He has raised millions of dollars for cancer research. He is the first ever behind Coaches versus Cancer, which you may hear about throughout the college basketball season. He was the one that started it all up. And he's a former national champion in baseball at the University of Missouri. Played on a national championship team. What a great, great guy. And great coach. John Sunvold is here as well. One of the great basketball players in the state's history. We just saw Cruz peek into the dugout, didn't we? So he'll look over, and Mike Matheny will try to control the running game in terms of throwing over, pitch out, those kind of things.
Step off.
Here's a 1-0 instead of check on Blackmon, who has 27 steals this year. Norm is so well connected still in the college basketball community. Had a chance to MC his event last year down at the Lake of the Ozarks, and there were the biggest coaches in the name there. They all respect him and realize what he's done for the game.
Great story.
Let's take a look again at Cruz and Matheny and what the Cardinals want to do here.
If a manager is a former catcher, it makes a lot more sense to me for him to be giving a catcher signs than if the guy were an outfielder or a pitcher or a shortstop. Should be an automatic fine for any manager who is not a catcher to give signs like that. But they all do.
In the air out to center field. Grichuk going back. Reyes will be retired. Out number 2. Blackman back to the bag at first. In steps DJ LeMahieu. Matheny sets the running game. Oquendo the infielders. Chris Maloney, first base coach, sets the outfield. So something is constantly going on.
The game away from the field often is as important as the game on the field.
I get a kick when people say, well, baseball's a slow-moving game, it's boring. There is something going on every second of the game.
It really is.
A little bigger lead this time, and Garcia may have saw that as well, and throws over. Two outs, runner at first. He's running. Throw by Cruz. No chance. Very good jump. Stolen base number 28 for Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah, Tony had no shot. Even a good throw does not get Blackmon. Stolen base number 28 on the year for Charlie.
This inning started with a strikeout of Johan Flande. Blackmon the walk. Reyes lined out to center. 1 ball, no strikes on DJ LeMahieu. Garcia's been working from behind today. Ground ball hit to short. There's Peralta, settles and throws. We're midway through 3. The Cardinals have Cruz, Garcia, Carpenter coming up, and there's no score. Cheer Cardinals. Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions may apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Tony Cruz is 0 for his last 12. He's got one of the toughest jobs with that 25-man roster, trying to stay sharp, playing behind Yadier Molina.
Boy, that is really true, and it's a real commodity in baseball. The backup catcher. It's a very difficult it's a very difficult task to find a good one, because if they're good enough, they'll be #1 catchers someplace else.
First pitch is a strike. Tony hitting 179 in limited duty this year, no homers, and he's driven in 3. He's just 1 for 21 here at home this year. And a ground ball to second base. LeMahieu, 1 away. Still looking for our first hit in this game for either side.
Danny, you mentioned a man for whom I think everybody in baseball has a ton of respect, and that was Larry Walker. Now, I can't believe that Larry Walker received only 23% of the vote back in 2012, I think his first year of eligibility. I believe that's right. One year in there. 1997 MVP, a 5-time All-Star, 7 Gold Gloves. A .313 average with 383 home runs. 2,160 career hits. And on August 7th, 2004, he pinch hit for Mike Matheny in his first at bat here
in St. Louis.
In St. Louis, I should say. Yeah, it was Bush 2.
Never forget doing that game. And Walker got a huge standing ovation, and the Cardinals that year were rolling. I mean, this team was good. And that was the MV3 year. Pujols, Edmonds, Roman. Any one of them could have been the MVP. Now you've added Larry Walker. He gets a standing ovation. He strikes out on 3 pitches and gets a standing ovation to the dugout. He said, I never had experienced something like that. He said, it's a moment I'll never forget. As Garcia lines it to center, there's Blackman. And we didn't see Larry Walker in his prime. He played 1 more year in 2005. He had some horrible back issues that he played through. And you just gave all the numbers. The one thing I remember about Larry Walker, watching him every day, and I still haven't seen a guy as smart as he was, base running, and how to deke a runner as an outfielder.
Was the best.
He was unbelievable at it.
He was the best.
Just a great player.
Bob Brinley, our pal that is the analyst for the Diamondbacks in Arizona, said that Larry Walker, and this is beautifully said, Larry Walker is one of the few guys who's ever played the game that can, by turning it on or back a little bit, can actually dictate the flow of a game as a single individual. Wow. And I thought, you know, you think about a comment like that and you go, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And it was right.
The balls of the line drives over his head that he was able to deke a runner into thinking about taking an extra base, and then he'd come up with just a cannon. You know, on the fly, second base, right on the bag. Smart baseball instincts as a runner. Just a great player.
230 stolen bases, by the way.
I didn't realize it was that high.
I mean, to me, those are borderline Hall of Fame numbers, and to get 23% as his highest, I think, is ludicrous.
Penalized probably because he played at Coors Field.
Yeah, right.
You know, people saying, well, those are inflated
He also played
numbers.
in Montreal.
Exactly. That great '94 team that would have gone to the World Series more than likely. That team was loaded. As Carpenter flies out, Cardinals go 1-2-3. That's 7 in a row set down by Flande. Louis is here from the St. Louis Blues. That reminds us that you can golf with your favorite Blues player, alumni, and coach at the Blues 14 Fund Golf Classic on Monday, September 14th at Norwood Hills Country Club. All foursomes are paired with a Blues celebrity for 18 holes of golf. Visit stlouisblues.com/golf classic for more information. Another big crowd on this Sunday afternoon here at Busch Stadium. Garcia has struck out 3. Walked 3, is not allowed a hit. Rockies 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Nolan Arenado walked his first time up. Kyle Parker on deck, and then Ben Paulson. First pitch of ball, we're underway in the top of 4. You were talking about the numbers of Larry Walker, borderline Hall of Famer. I'll be curious to see what kind of votes Jim Edmonds gets. There's a liner and caught by Peralta.
That's next year, right?
Exactly, yeah, next year.
With those two players, if the writers who vote for the Hall of Fame, if they understood how much those two players know about the game, that should be worth something. Because usually if you know that much about the game, you put it on the field too, and you put it into play.
Both were so smart defensively at positioning and understanding what their pitcher was doing, the hitter at the plate, and then maybe taking a step or two to the right or the left before the pitch was thrown.
And they're the farthest away from the pitcher when they've got to figure it out. They're 280, 290 feet away.
Jimmy's baseball IQ was off the charts in terms of how he was going to be pitched. He was a great guess hitter too, you know, guessing along.
But he guessed right
a lot.
There's a big difference between guess hitters who guess wrong and those that guess right.
1 ball, 1 strike. Parker grounded out to second, first time up.
Famous line by Ted Williams when Ralph Kiner asked Williams if he guessed. Ted said, I guess. And he guessed right most of the time. One of the greatest hitters in the history of the game.
The Montreal Expos of 1994 were 74-40 when the game was shut down. Pedro Martinez, John Wetland, Kirk Reeder was very good on that team.
Left-handed pitcher
from this area. Pitched with San Francisco.
Right.
Moises Alou, Walker, Grissom, Floyd.
Felipe Alou was the manager of that team.
Moises, his son, outstanding player. Rondell White was a very good player for a number of years.
Thunder Hands. Call him Thunder Hands because the ball exploded off his bat like it does off Randall Grichuk's bat.
A walk to Parker. Of concern for the Cardinals, the long first inning, nearly 30 pitches for Garcia, and he has walked 4. So command a little bit of an issue here today. And it brings in Paulson. Ground ball hit to the right side. They'll get 1. So they do get the lead man.
But how many second basemen would even try to get the lead runner in that situation? But Wong, with very quick feet, throwing the ball to his right. That's a tough pivot when you have to pivot like that.
Now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag MW DataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Nick Hundley was called out on strikes back in the second inning. Two out, short lead at first, and strike 1. Just comparing the two staffs, St. Louis and Colorado. The Cardinals have 70 quality starts from their rotation. First in Major League Baseball. 36 for the Rockies. 36. That's it.
That's the difference you see in the standings. That one sentence.
That's last in Major League Baseball for Walt Weiss.
On next, Brownie.
He was a special assistant to the GM, coaching high school. He got the call from Dan O'Dowd and became the manager of the Rockies, which has been a trend now for many in the game to hire those with no major league or even professional managing experience.
Well, his managing experience came as a player. He was so respected as a player, playing a very important position at shortstop. So all of those things add up when you're making a decision who to hire.
And obviously, you have to have a good reputation, respected in the game.
Sure. That's what Walt was saying. He said, you know, talking about the Rockies, he said even the Oakland A's, when he was a member of the Oakland A's for about 7 years in the 80s, and saw the origin of Mark McGwire and Canseco, guys. Carney Lansford won a batting title, I believe, that year in the earlier 80s. But he said even that team, their pitching was more dominant than their hitting, and they had Eckersley in the bullpen.
And to right, there's Hayward. Dave Stewart, part of that rotation.
Bob Welch, who won 27 games in 90.
They were loaded.
They could pitch.
While we have a moment, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Brendan Moss has been hitting the ball hard in a short time with the Cardinals, but just 1 for 10 to show for it. Still, no one is happier about being with the Cardinals. Brendan was our guest on the pregame show. He told me he was initially shocked when he got news about being traded because there hadn't been any rumors floating around. He said the Indians were in San Francisco. He's at the hotel. He gets a call from Indians GM Chris Antonetti. Moss told me he was a little sad when Antonetti told him about the trade, but then got excited when he found out he was going to the Cardinals. Moss said too excited. He said he pretended to still be sad because he didn't want to insult Antonetti. He was trying to hide the joy in his voice. Dan Moss says it may sound like just talk, but he says every player would love to play for the Cardinals.
And I was hearing Jonathan Broxton, thank you, Jimmy. He was talking yesterday before the game how you jump from being 22.5 games out with Milwaukee, and now you come to St. Louis, you're in first place, you're in a pennant race, you're re-energized. And he said every player wants to play for a historic franchise if you get the opportunity.
It's thrilling.
I would think teams like the Yankees, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, those type of teams, the Giants, it's exciting.
You bet.
Stephen Piscotty, Colton Wong, and Johnny Peralta Here in the 4th inning for St. Louis, still looking for their first hit. Piscotty grounded out to first. Cleveland 14 games back of Kansas City in the AL Central. And the Royals with the largest lead of any division leader, 8 games over Minnesota. There's a base hit. And Piscotty has done it again. 10 straight that he's hit safely in his first 10 starts in the big leagues.
First hit of the game, and we're in the 4th inning. How about that? A little overspin gets by Reyes. I'm not sure that Jose would have had a play had he come up with it because he was in such bad shape on the ground.
Look at the scoreboard. Chicago 2-1 over Milwaukee. Kyle Loesch, a home run allowed to Addison Russell. He's allowed a home run now in 15 consecutive home starts. Longest streak in the National League since 1914. Loesch had some very good years here in St. Louis. Colt Wong was hit by a pitch back in the 1st inning. That's been their only runner prior to Piscotty's base hit. 2 balls, no strikes. Pittsburgh 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th, and that's against Cincinnati. They have the lead. Three and 0.
It's the first time I've ever seen Flande work. When you look at him from the stretch, he reminds one of Al Downing. Al Downing throwing the home run ball to Henry Aaron. Home run number 715 in 1973. He looks like Al.
Dusty Baker at the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron's historic home run. Talk to Dusty about that. Just his memories of it. It's, I think, wonderful to hear those stories.
Oh, yeah.
Little chopper towards second base. LeMahieu flips to Reyes for the out. On the road traveling and want to watch your Cardinals? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Al Downing, by the way, goes back into Cardinal history. He was the pitcher on the mound that threw Kenny Boyer the Grand Slam home run in Game 4 of the World Series in 1964. An 0-2 changeup. Kenny wrapped it around the foul pole down the left field line, and we were all toward the end of the dugout seeing what would happen when he passed in front of brother Cleat. It was the first time brothers had ever faced each other in the World Series. Both homered, by the way. Kenton Lloyd Boyer, what a player.
Could be 2. Out at second. Double play. That sends us to the 5th. We have 1 hit in this game off the bat of Stephen Piscotty. No score. Well, how about that? How about some positive vibes and a good story? Come on, Rick. Give me some of the good stories you guys were a part of. You don't want to remember those. But I guess we've all had them, right, Tim? Those tough days at the office.
I try to forget all those bad things that happen. Baseball's the type of game where more bad things happen than good.
In a way, it's a game of negativity.
No, yeah, it is. It's a game of failure.
Yeah. Barnes, Flande, and Blackman. You were talking of Kenny Boyer before the double play, and we were thinking about potential Hall of Famers. If Ron Santo is in the Hall of Fame, and this is no disrespect to Ron Santo,
none,
Kenny Boyer should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think that's about as good a comparison as can be made.
Very
fairest,
similar. Yeah.
Very fairest.
It was such a push for Santo before he passed, and a popular figure in Chicago as a radio broadcaster, obviously as a player too. But in that market, it helps out. Kenny passed away at a young age, so there's not that push.
All those things matter.
Yes.
Kenny the MVP in 1964. Ron Santo was never an MVP. Great player. The home runs, the RBIs, similar.
Why was Harry Carey so tough on him?
Oh, man. Well, that story has been told more than once. And they had a twilight doubleheader, scheduled twilight doubleheader at the Coliseum in Los Angeles with a day game the next day. Scheduled 3 games in less than 24 hours.
4th strikeout for Garcia.
And Harry wanted Kenny to come out the next morning, and Kenny told Harry, he said, gosh, Harry, you know, I'm playing every day. I mean, my first responsibility obviously is to the Cardinals. He said, don't you know I can make or break you with this thing? And that was Harry's attitude. And Kenny told Harry what he could do with the mic.
and the rest is history.
Harry was negative toward Kenny for the rest of his career.
Wow. Did you get along with Harry?
Kind of. I guess got along. I got along with him after I was retired and became a broadcaster, and kind of on equal footing then. But as a player, Harry was tough.
Yeah.
He was tough on the players. But he was funny, I thought. I mean, what do you make a martini with? All the broadcasters, of course, and he would play gin with anybody and loved it. What do you make a martini with? And then he'd say, I gin. I mean, I can hear him doing it right now.
What a great deal on Cardinals tickets. Fill up at Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more now until September 24th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66.
Of many, many things, my favorite Harry Carey story, when he was doing the White Sox, and he's introducing the defensive outfield that night. Now, Carlos May was a guy who had half of his thumb blown off in Army training. He was in the reserves. Walt No-Neck Williams was playing center, and Pat Kelly, who had a poor throwing arm, in right field. And Harry introduces the defensive outfield as, we've got no thumb in left, no neck in center, and no arm in right.
No arm in right. And he could get away with it.
Oh, got away with everything. So, I mean, when you're on the field, it was tough to accept some of the things, but they were funny. Got to admit.
1-0 pitch taken low by Charlie Blackman.
How can a guy from Mexico lose the ball in the sun? That was after Jorge Orta didn't squeeze the 27th out for the White Sox. Oh, man.
2-1. He'd be on WGN doing the Cubs, and he wouldn't mention anybody by names. He'd say, that's the Sarge out there, the Penguin at third, you've got the Bull at first. And people, what? You know, he'd just go by the nicknames.
Like with Harry doing it, it was like an animal rescue organization.
Exactly.
You know?
You wouldn't say Gary Matthews, not Ron Say, not Durham at first. 2-2.
And after that day, from what Kenny and Dick Grote and some of the older guys told me in the 60s, he always referred to Kenny Boyer as Boyer. It was never Kenny. It was never Ken. It was never the captain. It was always Boyer. And you know, Harry was very smart. I mean, if you got on the other side of him, he knew all of the ways to
needle you
without saying it.
Slapped foul.
Make it rough on you in the field. He was tough. And so popular in 2 cities. Chicago with 2 teams.
That's the amazing one to me. I mean, you see guys go from different cities as a broadcaster, and they can be popular with longevity. Fan base gets used to you, but to do it with the same city and 2 different teams.
With as much aplomb with one as it was with the other.
I'm a Cub fan. I'm a Bud man. Those commercials, he'd come out looking like one of the Blues Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
3-2 on Charlie Blackmon. Garcia has walked 4. He is not allowed a hit. Blackmon grounded out to first and then walked into third. Stole his 28th base. And Cruz out to visit. How do you remember all this stuff, by the way?
Oh, it's indelible. It's imprinted in your brain forever.
It's incredible. The story. You remember the years, the dates, the teams. Now, could you add 2 + 2?
Pythagorean theory?
Right.
No.
A 2-out base hit, Charlie Blackmon.
I mean, you live it. When you live it, you learn it.
So Garcia has allowed his first base hit on the 3-2 pitch to Blackmon. So a hit aside, and it brings in Jose Reyes. You mentioned when Jose Reyes first came up mid-2000s with the New York Mets. He was signed as a 16-year-old amateur and then became a pro in their system. There may not have been a more exciting player than Reyes when he first came up.
That's true.
He could run, hits from both sides.
Cannon for an arm. Go to his right and plant and throw.
He played into the New York crowd, too.
I don't mean this as a knock on Jose, but you get the feeling, here it is 10 years later, that he's not the player that he should have been. I wouldn't say by any means it was a wasted career or anything like that, but he had that much talent to be a superstar. He's a star, but not a superstar.
And I bet he would say to you, I could have been that, but my legs wouldn't let me be that. Remember all the injuries he had with the hamstrings?
True. Yeah, the toll of the stolen base leader.
And it's clear he's lost a step or two. Still a very good player.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, particularly at that position.
That team that they had with the Mets, the Cardinals beat in 06. There's no way they should have lost that series to St. Louis. No. Reyes, Delgado, David Wright.
Curveball from Adam Wainwright to get Carlos Beltran,
who was in the prime of his career.
It'll be remembered forever in Cardinal lore, and unfortunately for the Mets, in their lore too.
Beltran had back-to-back seasons. He could have been the MVP.
Yeah,
he was that good. He had a couple of great years here in St. Louis. Smooth, boy. Ooh. 2-0 pitch. Now 3-0. .83 pitches this afternoon for Jaime Garcia. Runner goes. Cruz's throw is not in time. Stolen base number 29 for Charlie Blackmon.
You knew who opened my eyes to stealing with the count 3-0? Lou Brock. Lou, our guest in the booth the other night for an inning and a half. He said that's when pitchers relax the most, and that's when catchers don't think you're going. I don't know how many stolen bases Lou had with the count 3-0 to Ted Sizemore or Kurt Flood, but a lot.
Mike Matheny may want to take a longer look at this. He asked his players when replay was introduced last year, be emphatic. If you feel that you have gotten a tag down and a player is out, let me know. Let the umpires know. That's nowhere close. He's safe.
Yeah.
But Wong's reaction initially was to look over into the dugout. I'm not sure if he felt like he came off the bag, but just from the bang bang play, clearly safe.
Right.
So Blackmon at 29, third best in stolen bases this year, behind Billy Hamilton and Dee Gordon. The Marlins got some frustrating news as Giancarlo Stanton not responding with his injury, trying to come back. He's going to miss considerable time, they're saying. The first game back for Garcia this year was at Citi Field, and he walked 5. It's on the verge of doing that here. Instead, it's a fly ball into right. Jason Hayward is there. Jose Reyes is now 2 for 14 as a Rocky. Hayward, Grichuk, Reynolds coming up, and there's no score. Arcia in the driver's seat. Highest on base percentage leading off an inning. The Cardinals .316. Just behind San Francisco. Giants, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Game and a half back of Los Angeles right now. Big game at Citi Field with Washington and New York. The Mets just a game out. The Angels now fallen 3 back of Houston. And the Yankees a 5-game lead over Baltimore, 6 in front of Toronto.
Baltimore winners of 7 of 8. They're playing much better ball now.
There's a lot of talk that Chris Davis could be moved, but he's gotten hot, hitting home runs again. 1 ball, 1 strike on Hayward. Struck out looking, first time up. Today, the anniversary, unfortunately, of the death of Thurman Munson. Back in 1979, he died in a plane crash, the former MVP and Rookie of the Year for the Yankees. The 2-1. Slowly hit up the first base line. Flande, tough play, and Hayward is aboard.
Flande did what he could, but he knew the ball was going to stay fair. It's really an easier play for Hundley, but it was too far down the first baseline for Nick to have a play. So Flande had to make the play, and he airmailed it at first, but it'll be a hit, I think. I would imagine.
We've had 2 games today in which the benches have cleared. Pedro Villarreal hit Andrew McCutchen, then Tony Watson hits Brandon Phillips. Benches cleared. The Pirates lead that game 3-0 in the 9th. Royals hit Tulowitzki and Donaldson. Toronto comes back. They hit Alcides Escobar, and the bench is clear in that game too.
Wow.
Let's see if the Cardinals want to get something going here. Start Hayward. You think about a hit and run with Grichuk. The problem is the swings and misses.
That's true. Try to get a combination of a pitcher that throws strikes and a hitter that makes contact.
There's contact out in the center. That'll stay in the ballpark. Or will it? Gone! Carries out of here. 2-run homer. Randall Grichuk and a 2-run St. Louis lead.
Better a hit and walk around the bases than a hit and run around the bases. I think as much as anything, that fly ball by Grichuk shows how much steam the balls that he hits on the button, how much steam they get. Blackman almost covered his head toward the fence, thinking, I can't see it and don't know where it is, but I think it's out of here.
Just kept on going. Initially off the bat, you're thinking maybe to deep center, but carries out of here. And a home run, 2-run shot, and a 2-0 St. Louis lead. How about Randall Grichuk now with 12 home runs, 38 driven in?
Of course, you never know, but I bet if you talk to Charlie Blackman after the game, he will say, when that ball was initially hit, I thought I was going to make a play on it.
I did. Base it into right. I say that for 2 reasons. How it came off the bat. And then his reaction, as you talked about. He was going back as if he had a beat on it to make the play.
Right. And get the ball back quickly in case Hayward was tagging up, and neither outfielder could yell that to him.
Reynolds beats the shift going the other way.
Jose Arquindo talking to Tony Cruz. I don't think normally you would have a situation where you'd bunt here with the pitcher coming up. However, the Cardinals have activity in their bullpen. Cishek is warming now, so Tony may be bunting, and then Mike Matheny may pinch hit for Garcia.
How about Randall Grichuk? Tim, he has 68 hits this year. 37 have now gone for extra bases.
Oh man, about 54% or so.
And a double play ball. 6-4-3 on the double play. Rockies turn their second double play. Garcia will hit. sure part of that thinking too is if you bunt and you pinch hit for Garcia, when he's gotten around 85 pitches, at times he has run into problems, running out of gas a little bit. Plus, you look at his command today, he's walked 4, but he's only given up 1 hit.
Yeah.
Also, you think about the off day tomorrow, your bullpen is ready to go. So if you needed to extend innings from your bullpen, you could do that today.
Well, otherwise, Cishek's not going to be up. If there was no thought by Mike Matheny of pinch hitting, why get Cishek up on a sweltering day when you can shake hands and be ready?
Right. Just come trot in, take your warm-ups, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Garcia lined out to center, first time up. Two-one pitch. Now 2-2. That's one place to stay cool. That's Ballpark Village across the street. And Fox Sports Midwest Live. You should be able to shorten the game anyway with a healthy Rosenthal ready to go for your 9th if you get there. Segrist. I mean, everybody's pretty much ready with the exception of maybe Manus. If you needed that double play, you might bring him in. Strikeout of Garcia. The Cardinals, though, get on the board first today. Randall Grichuk to center field. Brute strength, 12 home runs. RBIs 37 and 38. One swing of the bat and a 2-run St. Louis lead. For the Cincinnati series beginning on Tuesday night at 5:30 right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Presented by Budweiser. It's our What's on Tap. John Lackey was terrific last time out. He's 9-6. DeSclafani will get the call for the Cincinnati Reds. Let's go back to the home run of Randall Grichuk.
I tell you, we were looking at it between innings. I'm not too sure he didn't hit that ball down on the end of the bat. Look at it. I mean, it wasn't in. Well, I know it was off the sweet spot. I mean, it wasn't on the. It was about the width of a baseball from the sweet spot. Looked to me, which means that he doesn't have to hit it flush to hit it hard.
Just natural power. LeMahieu, Arenado, and Parker. So Garcia gets some runs today, and the Cardinals make it stick. 2-0. We're talking about the quality starts, comparing the two rotations, the Cardinals starters have almost 100 more innings pitched than Colorado starters. So the starters aren't going as deep. It puts a lot of pressure on your bullpen as the season goes along. LeMahieu has walked and grounded out to short. Rockies 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. That's one of the stories in this game, as they have stranded 5. Pirates trying to close out a win against Cincinnati. We told you about the benches clearing. Mark Melancon, the closer, the Pirates came in for the 9th, hit a man, and was immediately ejected. 3-0 that score. We'll keep an eye on it. Cubs 4-1 over Milwaukee. Base hit into right. DJ LeMahieu. So 2 struggling teams coming up for the Cardinals. Cincinnati beginning on Tuesday night. Milwaukee Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend. 2 teams that are struggling mightily this year. Reds 47 and 55. And the Brewers 44 and 61. So that'll be it for Jaime Garcia. Gives up 2 hits today. Cishek is coming in our Chevy called to the pit. Hall of Fame player and manager Red Schoendienst. 25,000 fans 16 and older receive a one-of-a-kind Red Schoendienst Hall of Fame red statue, and it's courtesy of AAA Insurance. So celebrate Red 70 years of baseball and counting. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Many ways to look at this move right now. And Steve Cishek is into the game, and we've talked about him being loose, so he's ready to go. Cardinals electing not to bunt with Tony Cruz. Then he could have pinch hit for Garcia.
Right.
Now he faces 1 hitter, 3 pitches, and is lifted from the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to the bullpen.
Well, there is grist in that line of thinking. That's why when Tony Cruz talked to Jose Oquendo, I thought he'd be bunting and then pinch hitting for Jaime Garcia, because it's an official game as far as Garcia. He could only win the game. Of course, that's still the case. It could have been if you bunt him over and get him in, you increase your lead. In the process of getting rid of Garcia and starting Cishek to start the 6th inning.
Cishek appeared in game 2 of the series, ran into issues, but was able to pitch out of it. Bases loaded. nobody out situation. And he's gone to 2-0 on Nolan Arenado. Arenado base hit to left. Got the ground ball, but it found a hole. Tying runs are on. And the go-ahead run comes to the plate in the form of Kyle Parker.
Well, Matt Carpenter's playing shallow. He's not going to be bunting. I don't think. Never, you're thinking about a bunt, whether it's at home or on the road. You don't bunt to tie on the road. The odds are just not with you, even if you're in the middle innings. I think it's dangerous for Carpenter to be shallow right here.
One of the big bullets on the bench for Walt Weiss, we may see him before this afternoon is through. Remember, Carlos Gonzalez is on that bench.
Good point. Matt moving back a step at third, but this is not a bunting situation. Now he's even with the bag.
Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates have posted a victory today, 3-0 now the final. LeMahieu dancing out there at second base, so Cishek gives him a look. Runners at first and second. On 1-2. Fly ball. Shallow center. Grichuk. Runners stay put. And there's one away. Here's Ben Paulson. He's 0 for 2. Hit into a fielder's choice and struck out swinging back in the second. Outfield is deep, fairly straight away. They shade him just a bit to right center.
Tough matchup anytime Cishek faces a left-handed batter. Paulson's shown power in this series and the ability to hit.
And he looks at strike one.
First pitch curveball. Get me over curve. Good pitch.
And you say he's tough with a left-hander. Be tough on him because of the way that he throws. And
right. You see the ball so much better against a side armor like that.
Hit into right. That's trouble. Hayward over. One hops off the wall. 1 run is in. And it'll be a double for Paulson. And the Rockies get on the board.
Thing about why that pitch is so dangerous, that slider, not only do left-handed hitters see it better, but they know when a guy's throwing the ball from down there, there is no pitch that he can throw that's going to go down but the sinker, because of the trajectory of the ball after it leaves the hand. He can't throw a breaking ball from down there that goes down. So Paulson, a big double right there. One more look at this pitch. It's a slider. And really right into the wheelhouse of Ben Paulson.
Reynolds way off the line at first, even with the bag, and here's Nick Hundley. That run charged to Garcia, so 6+ for Jaime today. 2 hits, a run, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks, no home runs allowed as Randy Chota is getting loose. Fastball just missed. One ball and 2 strikes. Here's a 1-2. Thing we've noticed, I think, with Cishek is he's still trying to find it. When he misses by a lot.
And by a lot, you mean over the middle of the plate, over the bad part of the plate. Yeah.
The 2-2. Ground ball hit to third, taken by Carpenter. Looks back, the runner. Big out.
I don't agree. I think you've got to try to run on contact in that situation. The worst thing that can happen on a ground ball like that, you're trailing by 1. The worst thing that can happen is first and third and 2 outs. So the guy gets nailed at home. But in the process, you've taken a chance of scoring a run. On that play, it's a very difficult play for Carpenter if Arenado runs, because Arenado would be in the way of Carpenter's good throw to home. Yep. That's why I think you send the runners trailing by a run, runners on at second and third.
Yeah, Choate getting loose, and that ball gets away. Runner will try to score, and he will. This game is tied, and it's 2-2 on a wild pitch by Cishek.
Well, he gets the ground ball out, and then the first pitch to Brandon Barnes is a wild pitch. So go figure.
You have to think that Choate is getting ready for Blackmon and the potential of Carlos Gonzalez with the pitcher spot up next.
Mm-hmm.
One ball, 1 strike. And as we say that, Gonzalez has moved to the on-deck circle. Right-hander getting loose in the Rockies pen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cishek in his career, lefties have hit just .238 against him. Righties even tougher, .224. Those are the career numbers. But this year, totally different story. Right-handed batters .312, the lefties .262. And the count runs full.
Here's a situation you're not trying to pitch around him because of that guy on deck.
No, sir.
Whether it's a right-hander or a left-handed pitcher.
Three-two pitch. And a fly ball lifted into shallow right. Jason Hayward is there. The Rockies have tied this up. 4 hits aside. And a 2-2 game as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Now at McDonald's, get any size McCafe, Frappe, or smoothie for just $1.99. New pitcher in is Justin Miller. He's in relief of Flande. And good numbers he's put up in 10 appearances, a .90 ERA in 10 innings, 5 hits, only 1 walk, no home runs allowed. And that's our Chevy call to the pen as the Rockies go to their pen with the right-hander Justin Miller. Cardinals have the top of the lineup: Carpenter, Piscotty, and Wong. So it's a battle of the bullpens now. Matt Carpenter has fly to left and also fly to center. Third stint of the year for Justin Miller in the Rockies pen. He's given up just 5 hits, facing 34 batters this year. That pitch at 93 miles an hour. Signed a minor league contract with the Rockies back in November after being granted free agency by Detroit back on November 4th. One-0 pitch. Stubbs is in right field, so he goes to the 9th position in the lineup. And your pitcher, Miller, is in the 8th spot. Two balls, 1 strike. Flande gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, struck out 3. No walks, he hit a man. 1 home run allowed, and that was Grichuk's blast last inning. Two and two. So with the win posted by Pittsburgh here today over Cincinnati as we speak, the Pirates are 5 games back. Could be 4.5 if the Redbirds lose. 5.5 if St. Louis would win. 2-2 pitch, and he strikes out Carpenter. Edward Jones is pleased to sponsor the Hall of Fame and the annual induction process that gives fans a voice in honoring the team's greatest players. The induction class has been selected. Cardinals and Edward Jones congratulate the newest members of the Hall of Fame: Curt Flood, George Kissel, Ted Simmons, and Bob Forsch. I'll pose the question to you. He's going in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Should he be in baseball's Hall of Fame for both what he did on the field, a fabulous player that gets overlooked, but what he did off the field and changed the game completely, and that's Curt Flood?
Well, it's easy for me to decide on that. I'm not unbiased.
That's all right.
But in fairness, that one step forward. I mean, Don Drysdale called Curt Flood the toughest out in the National League. That's from one of the tougher pitchers in the National League during the 60s. That combined with what he did for the players. And I can't for the life of me think that there's bias on the part of writers when they're looking at Curt Flood, because if there were, then that would be a clear case of them siding with the owners, and they're supposed to be unbiased in their selection of players for the Hall of Fame.
2-1.
Talk about a conflict of interest, though.
I just wonder,
perhaps. I'm just saying perhaps. I'm just throwing that out there.
Why guys like yourself, Vin Scully, and the broadcasters that are around the game every day, why they aren't part of that selection process as well. Open it up. Two and one the count on Piscotty. We talked about it earlier. Piscotty has tied John Rodriguez hit safely in 10 straight to begin their careers. 10 straight starts and hits in those games.
Funny thing about those last two names, Don Blasingame and Walker Cooper. Don Blasingame married Walker Cooper's daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Don Blasingame was from Corinth, Mississippi. And Walker Cooper, as a matter of fact, gosh, I can't think of her name right now, but Don's wife was a former Miss Missouri, Walker Cooper's daughter, and they were married. Don, at the time, one of the more eligible bachelors in St. Louis. Movie star looks.
3-2 pitch. Piscotty rips it into left center field. Extra bases. Two-hit Dave, Stephen Piscotty.
Talk about a man comfortable in his own shoes here. Getting more and more confidence with every game. 2 hits last night, 2 hits tonight or today.
Now 12 for 26 on the homestand.
I'll tell you, you know, if I'm Walt Weiss right here, I walk Wong to get to Peralta. I would. The right-hander, you're looking at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah.
No, I would walk Wong. I don't think that's going against books or anything like that. I think Colton Wong has a better chance of getting a hit against the right-hander than Johnny Peralta would. You're still looking at me like that. I know, I understand that, but it's just an opinion. Sarah Cooper, Miss Missouri in 1957. Walker's daughter, betrothed to Don Blasingame several years later. Trying to cover every angle here.
Well, you say it so softly, too.
Yes, well, if we're talking about a wedding, a marriage, serious stuff.
Little love connection with Tim McCarver. Cool evenings, walks on the beach, loves dogs. Here's the first pitch to Wong. Now, the reason I was looking at you, not crazy, just a little off kilter maybe, but
about the walk to Wong.
Peralta's swinging the bat well. Back-to-back games, home runs. He was in that rut. He was 1 for 23 prior to the series.
I understand it's going against the grain a bit, but that's what I would do. Stand by that.
2 balls, no strikes. That's what makes this game fun, and that's what makes it great.
Absolutely. I mean, that's.
The 2-0 pitch. Somebody asked me today here at the ballpark, a fan said, what do you think about second-guessing managers? And I said, well, if a manager can't stand to be second-guessed, he shouldn't be a manager.
Yeah. Well, to me, I don't think it's second-guessing. I think it's just talking about the game and talking about the myriad moves that are available to all the managers and all the players and all the apparatus which makes the game the best.
The 2-1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Danny Martinez trying to help you out, digging up every stat possible to help you.
Attaboy, Danny.
Right-handers hitting .087 against Miller. Lefties .273. Thanks a lot, Danny. Great to have you here in the booth. The 2-2. Wong, a bouncer to second base. Piscotty moves up to third. Let's see if Wong can't come through with 2 outs, and Peralta will dig in. I mentioned this earlier, the BJC Healthcare difference maker, the Cardinals shortstop. So since he was acquired and playing shortstop for St. Louis, 37 home runs. Desmond with 35, then Tulowitzki, injured for most of the second half of last year. Jimmy Rollins and Brandon Crawford. He's had a very good year for the San Francisco Giants. Two outs. Go ahead run at third in a 2-2 game. Buckle the knees of Peralta a bit. He didn't like the call.
Johnny thought it was too high, and it may have been. It was an odd pitch. It looked like a backup slider. A little cement mixer, the players referred to them as.
Fastball misses at 95. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1. Late with that swing. 1-2. Johnny has not looked comfortable in this at bat.
It's almost like he's not picking up the fastball or slider from Miller.
Here's a 1-2. And we'll do it again.
It's the thing about Peralta that we've noticed. He makes adjustments with 2 strikes. He'll float the ball the other way or ground ball to right field. Whereas up to that point, he may have been thinking about pulling the ball. Very smart hitter.
One-two pitch. Broke his bat. Sunday afternoon here in St. Louis. Cardinals trying to make it 3 of 4 against the Rockies. 2-2 our score here in the bottom of the 6th. Go ahead run at third. And he waves at it. And we're both wrong. Whatever. Grichuk has now become an everyday player, but still with 5. There you have Pollock at 11, Hamilton at 4, and Lagares, the Gold Glover of the Mets from a year ago, with 4.
You know, Dan, of all those, as Randall Grichuk with that 2-run home run, Kevin Segrist in the game now, but of all the metric items that with which we are confronted and have to try to explain, that defensive runs saved makes a lot of sense, because what it is, and we'll try to read you the definition of DRS, attempts to capture a player's total defensive value from range to arm to out of zone plays made. An example, Randall Grichuk made some errant throws in game 1, but last night he saved a 2-run home run. It was an important play at the time. The Cardinals lost the game by 4, but I think that's a metric that makes a lot of sense, at least to me.
I remember talking with Whitey Herzog, and we were visiting about Ozzie Smith, and somebody had asked him, one of the writers at the time, aren't you concerned about a lack of production at times from Ozzie offensively? He said, no. So what you're missing is what he saves in terms of what he does defensively.
Perfect example. Perfect example. He saves 100 runs instead of driving in 100 runs. Whitey's comment was, what's the difference?
That was his point.
That's right. That was before the metric had a name. That was back in 85 or 86 when Ozzie signed that, I guess, $100,000 contract at the time, something like that.
We'll be with Ozzie and Willie tomorrow and Tuesday night in our speaker series here at the ballpark. Tickets still remain for the second night. 2-1 pitch. Drew Stubbs at the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Charlie Blackmon and then Jose Reyes. Popped up to the right side. Foul territory, battling the sun. It's Colton Wong. He calls off Reynolds and makes the play. Cardinals fans, did you know the StubHub app is personalized just for you? Now with the StubHub app, you can select your favorite teams and artists and discover new ones too. Start at StubHub and let the fun find you. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. Garcia gave up 1 run, Cishek another. And now it's Kevin Segrist. Blackman has walked and singled, go along with a ground out to first.
Grichuk moving over about 4 steps into left center. I think that's a good idea. The physics of this at bat against a left-handed pitcher, he's more apt to hit it to left center.
Who does Segrist remind you of? I was thinking the other day about Joe McGrain. Now McGrain, I don't think threw quite this hard.
More of a slinger too.
Yeah.
Joe was.
The body type, big, tall lefty. Joe, some very good years in the late 80s for the Cardinals.
A little bit at his best of Denny Nagel, maybe.
One-two pitch.
What's staggering is that Kevin Segrist was such a high-round draft choice.
Round does not even exist anymore. It's done.
How about that? I didn't know that.
It's been eliminated.
Wow. That's a good one.
2-2. And a strikeout.
I understand he might have grown a couple of inches, got a little stronger and all that, but being a left-hander?
That's the part that's surprising, because I talked to Kevin about it and he said at the time he was throwing, high 80s, hit 90, 91 here and there, but still left-handed.
17 years old or 18 years old, right? But still left-handed, right? Tall. Taller frame than most. You figure he's going to grow a little.
You got to think that a scout is going to take a flyer on lefties late rounds. Why not?
Sure. Since they do it with less.
Popped up. Let's stretch of this Sunday afternoon. 2-2 ball game here in Game 4 of this series. Hayward, Grichuk, Reynolds coming up. Gateway Honda home run inning. If the Cardinals hit a home run, the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Right-hander Betancourt, Rafael Betancourt. Chevy called to the pen, and third time we've seen him in this series.
Talked about in Game 1 about how courageous he has been. He's got a rod in his right forearm. It holds his ulnar nerve and his elbow intact. And then 13 years later, he has Tommy John surgery. In my view, I don't think I've ever heard of that connection for any pitcher in the history of the game.
In steps Hayward to start the bottom of the 7th. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. The Mazda game summary, a 2-2 score. Flande 5 innings. Paulson is 1 for 3. Garcia 5 innings. And Grichuk 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer. As Hayward tried to jump on the pitch that was up in the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Betancourt in relief of Flande and Miller. Really good since the All-Star break. 6 innings, ERA just over 1. Prior to the break, 25 innings, ERA of 6. Hayward hit that little tapper up the first base line, beat it out, and scored on the home run by Grichuk in the 5th, and was called out on strikes back in the 2nd inning. Beautiful day here in St. Louis. See, the catcher wants it up. Let's see if they hit that spot. Down and away.
You know, I know it's their jobs and all of that, but I think here in a 4-game series, one of the best jobs we've seen all year is by this umpiring crew.
Really,
you say, well, it's their job the whole bit. You don't even know they're around for 4 games. And they've been tough games too, especially that first one.
That's when they're doing their job. You don't talk about them.
Right.
Don't hear their names. I know on certain broadcasts their names are never mentioned. Crew chief, Paul Nart, Ed Hickox, Mike Estabrook, and Ryan Blackney is behind the plate. The 2-2. Let's also give our home plate umpires some credit. This is a hot, and I mean hot, steamy, sticky day, and between innings they've been taking them out water and towels to cool them off.
Think about these guys never umpire in front of a home crowd.
That's right. That's a good way to put it. 3-2. And it's a walk to Hayward.
As a matter of fact, home crowds may work against them.
In many ways, I mean, any kind of crucial call, and they're scrutinized more now than they ever were.
Oh, absolutely.
With the home plate strike zone, and then with replay now. But I'll say this, and I've said it a lot. I think the replay system has shown that they're better than we all thought maybe.
No question. They're better with the naked eye than we thought they were before replay showed up.
AT&T Uverse Rewind, and that home run by Grichuk.
Good at bat by Hayward, fighting off a lot of tough pitches.
First walk the Cardinals have received today. Go ahead run is at first. Let's see if Hayward wants to run. Similar situation we talked back in the 5th where you think about the hit and run, but can you do it with Grichuk? Potential of the swing and miss, but the speed of Hayward could make up for that.
Also figured into a hit and run is whether the hitter is having a problem at the plate. Often the worse he's going, the more you're inclined to hit and run with him. The better he's going, the less inclined you are to hit and run. The reason for that is he's hitting the ball so well, he's seeing the ball well, and let him choose one. Don't make him have to swing at a ball.
1-0 pitch. One of the best in the league at the hit and run at the plate is Yadier Molina. He has 8 base hits to lead all of Major League Baseball on the hit and run. Stolen base percentage very high for Hayward. Been caught just twice this year to go along with 15 steals.
Not a running situation here, however, because he hasn't shown that he can throw strikes.
3-0.
You don't risk being thrown out at second base with the count 2-0, 3-1, stuff like that, in my view. Those are hitters' counts.
Three and one. They turned him loose. They gave him the green light.
Yeah, I don't think he's the type of guy who's going to swing at 3-0. I don't think you turn him loose. Do you?
Not yet.
Not
yet. As he gets
not
older.
Yet. Maybe, yeah. That not yet's. I'll accept that response.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
3-1 the count. Hayward is running. Good jump. And no chance for Hundley. Didn't even throw, so the Cardinals have a man in scoring position.
Yeah, of course, if you have a jump like this, all a catcher can do is throw it to third to head him off. 16 of 18, but none standing up this year that I remember.
No, I don't either. Normally the traditional steal.
Yeah.
Bang, bang play and a throw. 2:04 with runners in scoring position. He could change that right here. Strikeout of Grichuk, so he comes back to get him. Once again, the shift is on here for Reynolds, who went to right back in the 5th. All kinds of room on the right side of the infield. Rockies dugout is trying to change LeMahieu, and he finally moves over to the second base side. They were screaming. They were actually on the field out of the dugout. Strike one.
By moving where the dugout wanted him, he's farther away from second base to hold Hayward on. And Hayward is a real threat to steal or attempt to steal with one out.
Yadier Molina has moved to the on-deck circle. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Was paying attention to LeMahieu. He was nowhere even close. Wasn't even slapping the glove, trying to keep Hayward close.
Right. Hold him close by the sound.
This place will erupt with a base hit or the introduction of Yadier Molina.
Or both.
Or both. I like that option. Betancourt screaming up here.
Yeah.
He's flustered after that pitch.
2-2. After our sermon about the umpires here on this Sunday.
Of all days. Two pitch. Just missed it. High in the air. Center field. Blackmon makes the catch. Reynolds 1 for 3. Here's Yadi.
Young trying to get the attention of Charlie Blackmon in center field to move him to right center. I mean, as hard as Betancourt is throwing, you play Molina if you pitch to him here. You know you're going to get a pinch hitter on deck, and that's Greg Garcia. He's already moved out there. Oh, I beg your pardon, it's Brandon Moss.
Might be too deep in center too.
Oh, absolutely. Good point.
2 outs. Go ahead run at second. First pitch a ball. Very own Jim Hayes had a nice interview with Brandon Moss, who's at the on deck circle prior to the game. Hayward started the inning with a walk, then the strikeout of Grichuk. Reynolds, a fly ball to center. The 1-0. Molina in his career, and it began in 2004. A .353 hitter with runners in scoring position against the Rockies. This year it's at .230.
Yeah, and it's a different Molina now too. This is 10 years later. I think your point about Blackmon being too deep is most salient point brought up.
A lot of his hits, those soft liners into right center.
I mean, go ahead scouts got to make that clear to the outfielders. Some guys are less readable than others, but at this point in his career with Yadi, if he's going to hurt you against a right-hander throwing this hard, it's going to be to right field and not deep.
The 2-2. Struck him out. So Betancourt, couple of strikeouts following the walk. And the threat is through. We head to the 8th. Good ball game. It's 2-2. Sports Update with Pat Paris. Jonathan Broxton, thank you, Pat, comes into the ball game as he made his Cardinals debut yesterday. It's our Chevy call to the pen. This will be his 42nd appearance. Toronto seems to be a scary team going down the stretch with the addition of Price and Tulowitzki. They are 2 games back in the American League wild card. It's the Angels in Minnesota play in it today. Baltimore a game back. Toronto now a game and a half out. White Sox 3.5. That's a dangerous team, that Blue Jays team now.
Oh, yeah. At least you could talk about them now, whereas 10 years ago you couldn't.
Right. Buried in the American League East.
It was Yankees, Baltimore occasionally.
Boston,
of course. 3 world championships in the last decade.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to DJ LeMahieu. Ground ball that's hit to short. Taken by Peralta. 1 away. Molina stays in the game. He's behind the plate. Broxton, your new pitcher.
Tell you, Dan, Bud Selig had his detractors, but one group of people who couldn't detract from what Bud did were people that did not agree with the extra wild card series and the second wild card. Everybody was saying it dilutes the game, but I think it's ridiculous to take that stance now.
And it's made the fan bases of teams stay with them for the entire season.
It's like the Mets right now. It's brought people back to one of New York's 2 teams.
Toronto re-energized a fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, and that's a strike. 0-2 on Arenado. A lot of these teams are talking about going for a wild card. Say, for instance, the Cubs. The Cubs, realistically, 10, 11 back. That's a lot of ground in 2 months to get to. Those are historic comebacks. It doesn't happen very often. But they're 1 game out in the wild card. That's good for the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I would like it, and there's a look at the NL wild card, and I've found to just love it because it keeps so many teams still in it.
Sure. team like Arizona or San Diego.
Arenado strikes out.
Boy, good slider from Broxton there. And it was a good one LeMahieu hit to shortstop. But this ball, watch. That's some downward movement. It's what all pitchers look for with sliders, because that means they're getting on top of the ball and not dropping down. That was a wicked slider from Broxton.
The other thing with Bud Selig, in terms of the business aspect of the game has never been healthier in terms of money. And you talk about people coming out to the ballpark because they feel their team still has a chance to win.
Why television ratings are high. We talked about the other day, FSM and the Cardinals, their agreement that begins in 2018 through 2032, I believe.
And a strike.
The money that's being made throughout baseball is large.
The popularity of the sport, it's wonderful.
It really is. Never been healthier.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and nobody on. And the hitter is Kyle Parker. Oberg, a right-hander, getting loose in the pen for Colorado.
Another
slider again. Broxton off the mound, pounces on it.
All 3 outs this inning with that slider. That's good to see.
Pinch hitter, then Carpenter and Piscotty coming up. Remind you that Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, along with education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. So here's Scott Oberg, just called up prior to the game yesterday. Our Chevy called to the pen. He'll be making his 35th appearance. Carlos Gonzalez moves to right field, and Drew Stubbs will shift from right to left. So those are your changes for the Rockies. Oberg will face Greg Garcia, then Matt Carpenter and Stephen Piscotty. So Garcia pinch hitting here for Broxton. Rosenthal getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Lackey and DeSclafani on Tuesday night from Cincinnati. Jim Hayes, Tim McCarver with you, Dan McLaughlin as well, and here we go, bottom of the 8th. First pitch to Garcia is a strike. Looking ahead to the 9th, it'll be Ben Paulson, Nick Hundley, and then Carlos Gonzalez goes in the 8th spot in the lineup for the Colorado Rockies. 1 ball, 1 strike on Greg Garcia, the walk-off walk in game 1. Did not go. 2-1.
Walt Weiss, a little surprising that Oberg's in the game now instead of a left-hander. Of course, Boone Logan, one of their left-handers, one of their 2, had work last night, but Christian Friedrich is available.
Base hit Garcia.
Because you got 2 left-handers leading off the 8th inning. One just got a hit. Like an inside fastball just fought off by Garcia to left field.
Garcia, not great speed, but good speed.
Good enough, yeah.
Yep. And now it's Carpenter, 0 for 3. Fly to left, fly to center, and struck out back in the 6th. Out of the pen, it's been Miller, Betancourt, and now Oberg. Carpenter bunting and pushed it foul.
That's a bad play, I think. Matt Carpenter's too good a hitter in this series, even though he's 0 for 3 today. There's so many things more that he could do swinging the bat, and I think that was an option that Mike Matheny gave him. He elected to bunt. I don't think it's a good play. Too good a hitter.
Especially, as you said, the way he swung the bat this weekend.
Right.
If you're talking 3 weeks ago,
maybe.
Short lead at first. Arenado, anticipating the potential of a bunt, is in. Reyes is near the bag at second, so room to that left side. And the gap in the outfield was into right center. One ball, 2 strikes. In the dirt, Garcia reads it. On to second. Diving in safely as that ball goes into center. And Garcia never saw it.
You notice how quickly Blackman was on top of that ball, too. But you're right. Greg never saw it. He's a little miffed at himself, but excellent base running on a short, wild pitch. Never saw the ball. You're right, Dan, but that is just outstanding base running. You talk about instincts. You said he wasn't a fast runner. but good enough.
Good enough. Big pitch coming up here on 2-2. You're wondering about the outfield arms of the Rockies. They are plus with Stubbs in left, Blackmon in center, and certainly Gonzalez in right.
The one thing, however, is when you enter a game as an outfielder, you really hit it. Like in the 7th inning, you don't have a chance to warm up and throw like guys who started the game did, which would detract from a great arm. But you're right about Cargo, 3-time Gold Glover.
Time called. 2-2 the count.
It's a lot to the game, isn't it?
Makes it great.
It really does.
Garcia, the go-ahead run at second base as we play here in the bottom of the 8th. 2-2 pitch. Carpenter with a fly ball. Will Garcia tag? Catch made by Gonzalez. The throw will not beat him there. He's standing up at third base.
Good job by Matt hitting a fly ball deep enough, and there's Gonzalez. Garcia easily into third base. Now Colorado has to bring their infield in.
Peter Borges will be your pinch runner at third base.
Why? Not for you to question why, right?
Well, I'm looking at you too.
Yeah. I mean, after that going to second on that wild pitch. Of course, a ground ball you're going to have to make go through the infield anyway, aren't you?
Infield in. Piscotty at the plate. Borges is your, in terms of speed,
faster.
Agreed. Is he your best base runner? It's debatable.
Better than Garcia? I don't think so. Might have more experience now.
The 1-0. Inside.
We just saw a pretty good going from first to third. He went from first to second on a wild pitch that a lot of guys wouldn't go to second on.
Just going to say his read on the ball in the dirt was well done.
Yeah.
2-0. Two and one the count. Runner at third, infield in. The pitch to Piscotty. First and third. Colton Wong will be the hitter.
Now if you're Walt Weiss, who by the way was a middle infielder and should excel in these situations, what do? What are the odds if you're playing double play depth of doubling up Wong? And here comes Steve Foster to either deliver a message from Walt, I would think. You could tell if he's looking at the infielders as much as the pitcher, but he's not. No, there he is. Yeah. That's a message delivered from the manager. think you almost have to play halfway because you can't take a chance on playing double play depth, normal double play depth with Wong running. You have to give the infielder a chance to at least be in a position to come home with the ball if it's not hit hard enough.
And the only way you turn that double play is a hard hit ball, and even then it's sketchy with Wong.
Right. So they're not all the way in, they're about halfway, and I think that's the only way you could play it. Gives them the option.
Is he also going
depending
through,
on the speed of the ball? Excuse me, Dan.
Well, I'm saying too, you've got second base open. You try to get Wong to maybe chase, and you remind your right-hander you could have the situation of the bases loaded and deal with Peralta. That's something else maybe to think about.
Maybe, yep.
Second basemen are near the bag, and the first pitch is a strike to Wong.
Yeah, that was out of the strike zone. Colton a little bit too anxious.
And that may change the complexion of how you go after Colton Wong now.
Yeah. Play on his anxiety if you're the pitcher.
Here's the 0-1. 0-2. Wong didn't like it. And the 0-2. Wong, little bouncer, back to the pitcher. Out at second, the turn, and it's a double play. Oberg, Reyes, and what a turn at second base, and the double play off the bat of Wong. We're still tied. It's 2-2. Two-two game and a key double play. The third turned by the Rockies moments ago.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to note that the pitcher, when he sees Borges running right here, he has to determine, am I going home or going to second? He made the decision immediately. His throw to second, however, was low, and as Dan said, it was turned nicely to just get Wong at first base. So he made the right choice. Went for the double play.
It's a great turn by Reyes.
It really was.
It's been 6 days since we last saw Trevor Rosenthal. He pitched in Game 1 against the Reds and picked up a save. So plenty rested coming into this appearance. Ben Polson, first pitch, backhanded by Reynolds, and there's one away. brings in Nick Hundley. Cardinals have used Cishek. Came in the relief of Garcia. With 1 on and nobody out in the 6th. Then Segrist, a scoreless 7th. Broxton, scoreless 8th, and now Rosenthal. Hundley 0 for 3. Cardinals will have Peralta, Hayward, and Grichuk due up, looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th. Keeping Rosenthal fresh has been a big topic with the Cardinals bullpen, and now with the additions of Cishek, Broxton, you wouldn't think that'd be much of an issue.
I wouldn't think so, especially with Broxton throwing the way he did today.
He looked good today.
You get about 3 or 4 outings out of Jonathan, stimulate his confidence a little bit, and I wouldn't say he could match Trevor in closing situations, but he'd be a good 1B.
Carpenter, and the stretch out at first.
You know, with Colton Wong running, it's got to be very quickly turned wherever the ball is hit. So back to the pitcher. Watch Reyes. Bad throw, quick throw to get Wong.
And think about where a pitcher wants to lead the shortstop, get him in rhythm going towards.
right around the letters toward the right of the bag at second base. So he's going toward first base.
You talked about it. He does have a cannon for an arm.
Always has.
So here's Carlos Gonzalez with 2 outs, nobody on, 21 homers. Came out of the break as one of the hottest hitters in baseball. 2-0.
Good time for a changeup here. He is sitting dead red.
And he got the off-speed pitch. Cardinals this year, when tied after 8 innings, 5-8 this season. 3-1 is a fair ball and off the glove of Reynolds. Gonzalez to second base. It'll be a ground rule double picked up by a fan. Go-ahead run in scoring position and a chance for Drew Stubbs.
Rosenthal and Molina went to the well once too often. You could show a good hitter like Gonzalez at changeup, but coming back with it is debatable.
Of concern for the Cardinals is Stubbs. He is a good fastball hitter. Showed that in Cincinnati. We mentioned the strikeouts he's had. Gets the fastball up and in at 97.
Almost 98% of the time, in my view, if a team hurts Rosenthal, it's got to be with a fastball.
In other words, getting beat with your best pitch.
Getting beat with your best, yeah.
All fastballs here, 1-2.
By the way, that was a situation where Reynolds was on the line at first base. The ball just ate him up. It was hit so hard by Gonzalez.
Rosenthal trying to send us to the bottom of the 9th, tied at 2. The pace of Trevor Rosenthal, a pitcher with confidence here today, which has not always been the case, especially when he's grinding through, if he's been used a lot. Got him. Blew it by him at 97. A chance to win it with Peralta, Hayward, and Grichuk due up. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Little League baseball being played throughout the area today. The big leagues right here at Busch Stadium. What has been an entertaining game. 2-2. Rockies with 5 hits. The Cardinals with 6. And a hot afternoon here in St. Louis. Here's Johnny Peralta. Second inning of work for Oberg, who pitched out of a jam with an inning-ending double play and the go-ahead run at third base back in the 8th inning.
Looking down in the Cardinal bullpen, I don't see anybody even close to warming up. So if the Cardinals don't score here, I would imagine Rosenthal will go right back out there.
Had the rest. It's been 6 days.
Right.
Day off tomorrow.
Sure.
1 ball, 1 strike. Peralta hits it foul. Used Miller, Betancourt, Oberg, I should say, in this game. Germain, Canely, and Axford from the right side in their pen. The 2 lefties are available. 1-2. The 2-2. Hit to Arenado. 1 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jason Hayward has an infield hit, a walk, and a stolen base, number 16. And he struck out back in the second. Shift is on for Hayward. And that's a base hit. Thinking 2. Winning run in scoring position for the Cardinals.
Hangers come in all forms. That was a hanging curveball, just rifled down the right field line by Jason. Well played by Gonzalez to keep him from going to third. Little bobble, I think he tries it. That was a hanger. Gonzalez cautious, and he well should be.
No activity in the Rockies pen.
Well, I'll throw another one at you. I'd walk Grichuk.
Pitch to Reynolds.
Yep.
Sure, they'll be very, very careful here. Grichuk already with a 2-run homer today. Inside.
Well, if you change it and say, well, I'm going to pitch to Grichuk, but I'm going to make him chase a ball, that's a different situation. But, of course, when you start doing that, then you flirt with wild pitches, a pass ball. Because you're intentionally throwing balls out of the strike zone.
Two and 0. That may be what they're doing right here. Pitch to him, but pitch carefully, meaning
don't throw him a strike.
Exactly.
2 fastballs in off the plate to Randall, the first 2 pitches.
The 2-0 pitch.
That was ball 3.
Good speed at second base in Hayward.
That's why hitting is such a difficult art. Because you have to be patient and be aggressive.
And think about the situation. How are they coming after me? 2-2. With the Cardinals having used Borges as a pinch runner, they're down to 2 available bench players, Pete Kozma and Brandon Moss. And I just wonder if Mike Matheny is even thinking about Moss in this situation, potentially, if it happens against a righty. The 2-2. Just got a piece. And to further that point, no left-hander getting loose in the pen. A 2-2 pitch. On 3-2, it's hit up the middle. Reyes bobbles, throws, and safe at first.
I think they might review that, but he was safe.
If you're Walt Weiss, you have nothing to lose.
No, that's right.
If you think it's close, you do it.
Right.
Again, it has to hit the back of the glove. That's when it's officially a catch and an out. He's safe.
Yeah, that's not even in the shadow of the glove.
Promised you earlier in the game our fan photo of the afternoon. Hashtag MW Data Strong Fan. Must have been a tough night. They had their rally caps out.
Well, we saw a 5-man infield in game 1 in this situation. Brandon Moss will hit. Now, what do? Do you walk him and pitch to Molina?
Set up the potential of the double play.
Right.
Moss hitting 188 against right-handers, 260 against lefties. So maybe one of the reasons why you didn't see a lefty up.
The numbers. Right.
Arenado is looking into the dugout, trying to figure out where they want him positioned. He's near shortstop.
Well, the one thing Brandon Moss has shown is that he can hit a fly ball deep to the outfield.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
First pitch to him. I'm with you, Tim. I think you got to take a hard look, especially if you fall behind 2-0.
Yeah.
Putting him on and setting up the potential of an ending double play.
Right. Any ground ball that's fielded by an infielder is going to be a double play with Molina running.
The 2-0. Hit out of play. The 1-1. The 2-1 pitch. Moss, base hit. Hayward will score. The Cardinals win it with a walk-off from one of the new faces in St. Louis, Brandon Moss.
You've heard that expression. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Neither do ground balls.
Leave it to you to come up with that. What a game. A lot of fun here at the ballpark. Brandon Moss, the walk-off hit.
What a great game.
Sure was. Brandon Moss, our Budweiser player of the game with the walk-off single to score Hayward. The Cardinals take 3 of 4 this weekend. Let's head downstairs. Jim Hayes standing by with Moss.
The walk-off base hit for Brandon Moss. And Brandon, 1 for 10 as a Cardinal. You were hitting the ball hard, waiting for the big moment. You had it today.
Yeah, it's just keep swinging and trying to barrel the ball right there. I didn't want to try and spin off the ball with the sinker that he had. Don't want to ground into a double play, so I was just trying to kind of go with it. And if he threw one in, then try to turn on it. But luckily, I found a hole right there.
You come to a new team, you come through in the clutch like you did right there, get mobbed by your teammates. What's that feeling like?
Yeah, you can't describe it. I mean, you come in and you just want to contribute, and you hit the ball well. But these guys played a great game all day. Pitching was great. They played great defense, and then you get an opportunity to do something. I was glad to be able to do it.
I could tell by the smile on your face you've had since you've been here that you're enjoying your Cardinal experience.
Yes, I am. Like I said, it's a privilege to be here. It's a great opportunity, and you can't beat it.
Good job. Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
All right, guys, Brandon Moss.
Good stuff, Jim. It started with a Hayward double. That was a key play in this game in the 9th, and Hayward would score the winning run. Moss, the walk-off winner. And St. Louis takes 3 of 4 to wrap up the homestand against the Rockies. All the highlights. They'll break it down. Pat and Rick standing by. Post-game show comes your way next.